everlasting, truly everlasting. And true things, we talk about bad things, only ever bad things. This past year's been a nightmare. I've been losing my shit, trying to fight fair. Really all I need is fresh air. Wanna get lost somewhere. My girl left, never came back. I've been knocking my brain, trying to think back. Was I truly ever like that? I don't believe in fate. I think the weight of the world lies on your shoulders. I think I need a change, 'cause as of late I've been living in a wasteland. Losing sleep, watch the light refracting, the hours never ending. Do you think life is everlasting, truly everlasting? Don't you just walk out that door? I never wanna leave your side, leave your side. I'll pick myself off the floor. I never wanna leave your side again. Don't you just walk out that door? I never wanna leave your side, leave your side. I'll pick myself off the floor. I never wanna leave your side again. Damn pieces all on my own. Smile and try to pretend nothing's falling apart.
Yo, what's good, everybody? How we doing out there today? Some big news today. Got a big, nice news pump. Maybe a buy the news, sell the news event earlier this morning into this afternoon, and now currently seeing price retrace a little bit. Gonna go into what that means and what it means moving forward. I've had a lot of talk in my Discord that Bitcoin is reversing. We're going back in the bull market. I'm going to give my own opinions on this. To me, nothing has really changed. Today, I also made a great trade. I actually bought the bottom at 46,600, and I ended up selling it right above 47K because I just didn't know and I wasn't confident. And then I made some really poor decisions trying to short the news pump. I ended up taking some very small losses. Today was a learning experience for me, like it was a lot of you. And, whether you lost today or won today, you're always learning. And the only way you're going to become a better trader is by learning and making mistakes. So just like you guys, I had made some mistakes and I don't plan on making them moving forward. If I see a news pump, I'm definitely not going to try and heavily short it. The good thing coming out of that was my risk management was really good. And I ended up, taking a very small portfolio loss. I mean, to me, any loss hurts. But, minimizing your risk or minimizing your losses is the best way to succeed as a trader. Obviously, you need to make gains to be successful, but when you're not making gains, keeping your losses small is how you really succeed in this space. So real quick, I'm going to see who's in here. Chat is not as live as I thought it would be, but that's all right. John says, "Pamp it." I hope you're kidding. I think you are. What's up, Alex? How you doing, man? Always nice to see you here. Familiar face. Again, I want to give a big shout out to my music guy. His name is Cole Thompson. Cole, I don't know if you're watching. You said you were, but I don't know if you are. Thanks again for letting me use your music, man. I can't use any copywritten music, and your music's awesome. Love to jam out to it and have it on stream. It's awesome. Again, guys, I know today was a big anxiety-filled day, but look at the daily chart real quick. I know some of you are on Twitter and you saw bullish this and bullish that, and we're going to 100K tomorrow. What's changed? Nothing. I don't think anything has changed. We're going to go into some specifics here, but I see some more people. Mohammed Rugpool. Hey, buddy. What's up, man? Terry, what's good, brother? I hope you didn't buy today, Terry. I hope you didn't make the same mistake, the opposite mistake I did. Juan, hi from Spain. Hi from the United States, brother. Bitcoin. Yes, sir. All right. We're going to go through what we normally go through here, and then we'll get into Bitcoin. And I'll tell you guys about the day that I had. A little bit of anxiety. Like I said, I hate taking losses, but it is what it is. Oh, update. I don't know if you can see, but I still have that little remnants of a staph infection. So for any of you that, want to call me herpes face or whatever, feel free. But it is healing. It should be completely gone by next week. Saw a doctor, had a virtual appointment. Everything's healing according to plan. We're all looking good. All right. Now to the charts. Total. Still kind of in the same place we were when we talked on Monday. Still seeing a breakdown, a retest, and we're continuing down. Still seeing these massive bearish divergences. Overall, I mean, trend looks like it's changing. Trend looks like it's wants to continue to the downside. I don't see anything change with this. Total 2, real quick, again, pretty much the same as Total 1. We have a breakdown, a retest, and now we're continuing lower. Whatever this crazy volume is, I have no idea what that is. I know yesterday there was like a coin market cap glitch or a hack or something weird happened. So that could be this. I have no idea. But still looking exactly the same. Still seeing a breakdown. Most likely going to continue to the downside. Still massive bearish divergences. For those of you that don't know what bearish divergence is, it's when you make a higher high in RSI or MACD. Or sorry, lower high right here. So you go from high to low, and you make a higher high in price. That's usually a sign that trend's going to change, trend's exhausted. You get it. So Total 3, again, pretty much the same as Total 2. I don't want to rant too much about these because they still look like trends changing. Not a big deal. A big deal if you're bullish right now, but in accordance to change today, nothing has changed. So, okay, Bitcoin real fast. I had pulled this up in my Discord the other night. We had like a little group sesh where we just talked and about market sentiment and whatnot. So for those of you that don't know, you use the log function when you're looking at higher time frames, and if you're zooming out, because like if I use normal, I mean the chart is very obscure. It's trying to blow up these values and it kind of ignores this. Although this is a 100% move, this is a 300% move, and it doesn't quite capture that elasticity. So I'm going to hit the log button real quick. Actually going to put it in just a cleaner chart, remove the drawing. So, okay, I'm going to show you guys the macro bull trend. So no matter how you want to draw it, and I'm going to explain why I'm drawing it this way and really why I'm drawing it both ways. So, okay, we're going to go from wick to wick to wick. So we have 1 wick, 2 wick, 3 wick, breakdown, retest. So that's our first macro trend line. Now you're saying, if you see this, you're saying, okay, our bull trend is breaking. It's looking like similar to the total charts, where we are going to continue to the downside now because we have broken this overall structure. Now I've seen arguments that is not the trend line. Like, that's the incorrect trend line. You shouldn't use wicks. You should use opens and closes. So, okay, we'll use the opens and closes. And we're still seeing a breakdown. So no matter how you want to see it, guys, or however you want to draw it, with the most touches you can get, I mean, that's how you want your trend to be. You want it to be a place where things are bouncing. We're still seeing a breakdown. We're still seeing price very much breaking down from the overall structure. I don't think anything has changed in accordance to today. We're going to go to the daily chart and check that out here real fast. But, macro trend-wise, we are very much below it. There's no way you can tell me that we're above it. Okay, so looking at the weekly, again, not much has changed, but I believe we're back above the 50 moving average. So yeah, still about half a week to go. We really need to get below this to really say we're in a bear market. The 50 weekly moving average and the 200 daily moving average. This news pump or whatever happened today definitely prolonged it. I really thought that we were just going to dump off this news event, but we didn't. It happens. But not much has changed. We really need to wait for this weekly close, whether it's above or below the 50 weekly moving average. If it's above, that doesn't necessarily mean we're back to bullish. We're still very much below a macro trend line. We're still making lower highs and lower lows, looking from the top down. Again, not much has changed. We really need to wait for the end of the week. If we do lose this 50 weekly moving average, we're starting to look very bearish. I already think we're looking bearish, but that's just another confirmation that we're starting to really enter the heat of the bear market. So, okay, let's go to the daily. So for those of you today, it happens to everybody. You see this massive pump, not even really a massive pump. You see this very quick flash pump from 46.6 to 49K. We're talking 5%. So you saw a 5% pump today. I know that there were a lot of people who are anxious. There were a lot of people saying we're in a bull market, we're bullish, we're never going back down, the bottom's in, all this and all that. I want you to take a look at this chart and really tell me that the bottom's in. Because one thing that I notice, and I pointed this out in Discord earlier, for those of you that aren't in it, please join it, because I don't just tweet everything I that's in my mind. I do speak my mind pretty often in the Discord. So please join. The link is below. It is free. No paid group. But look at this. So this over here, this is a double bottom. We make this nice W pattern. We have some decent volume here. I'm still on the grounds of most of this was tether spoofing. You can think what you want, but just TA wise, without the tether spoofing, this is a very clean double bottom. We have this big wick here, and we actually ended up filling it and going a little lower. Okay, well, we have this big wick here, and we have not filled it and gone lower. So for those of you that keep comparing this to this, they are not the same. Not in the slightest. I mean, they don't even look the same. Also, I'd like to point out that this here and this look the same or very similar, which again is consolidation before, most likely before another move down. You know, nothing moves up or down in a straight line, whether you're bullish, bearish, whatever. You know, things kind of move in waves. You know, it's never just a straight line up. There are always pullbacks. There are always egregiously overrated pumps. You know, we can't just say that we're bullish and the bottom's in when there's not even a reversal pattern. Guys, the daily is probably the best chart to determine a reversal, at least in my opinion. You know, the daily always prints bullish patterns. Over here, double bottom. This is a little weird. I mean, you do have very bullish price action. I mean, you could call this a double bottom. So, okay, we double bottom. Here, double bottom. This is a head and shoulders, so we're going to disregard that. But the last 1, 2, 3, there's a double bottom over here. 4, there's also a double bottom over here. So the last 6 pumps that we've had in this market, we've seen a reversal pattern. There is not a reversal pattern printed on this chart yet. Could there be? Sure. You know, anything's up for grabs at the moment, but just for me personally, this looks like consolidation. All we're doing is we went down, we're going sideways, and most likely going to go down. We know that consolidation, no matter which direction you're going, consolidation is usually a determinant that you're going to continue trend. Charles, I was looking at a 3-day and it looks prime for pump, but it could keep trend. So let's look at the 3-day. So 3-day. I don't know how you're seeing prime for a pump. You know, we see a 3-day here and we're just kind of slightly going down. We pump back up, retest this area of new resistance, and then continue down. Here we're, you know, kind of doing the same thing, slowly drifting down, maybe drifting sideways because we're bouncing around. You know, we still have bearish price action here. I wouldn't say that we're primed for a pump yet. You know, I wouldn't say we're primed for a pump until 53K is broken and held, like a daily closed above or even a weekly closed above. You know, we can't just draw to conclusions or hypothesis with what we think. We need to use what we have, which unfortunately I was using what I think today when I shorted, but you know, we live and learn. Where would I set a stop loss? That depends if I'm shorting or longing. When I longed the 46K earlier, I put my stop like 1% lower. I was like, if we go down, we're going down hard, so 1%. But you know, I didn't hold it that long. Would you consider the previous hour on Bitcoin as a doji? I don't know how reliable these dojis are. I'm not sure what we saw an hour ago was a doji or. I wouldn't, just because this volume going down is very low. Like, this could very well just be consolidation and we go up more. You know, trying to use what I have and not what I want to happen. So, with that said, continuing with the daily. Yes, we have what looks like a MACD crossover. I believe we almost had one here as well, but then we continued lower. So for me, you know, just because it's getting close doesn't mean that it's actually happened yet. And still, guys, we are still making lower highs on the daily until we get at least a 4-hour candle above 50,600. We really can't say this is a bottom yet, or even a confirmation of a bottom. Could a bottom be in the making? Sure, but I really wouldn't consider this a double bottom yet. Yo, Agriz, what's up, dude? Let us in the stream, fam. Check your Discord DMs, slipping in your DMs, bro. Oh, you want to get on the stream? Hold up. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I'll get you in here. Hold on. All right, let's see if Agriz gets in here. If he does, then we'll let him speak his mind. He's quite the savage, so be prepared for that. Actually, let's see if we can just call him. I'm gonna move this off to the side for now. All right. So yeah, back to the daily. You know, we're still making lower highs. I wouldn't say we're making lower lows as this is a wick, but we're definitely closing lower lows, which again is not very bullish. And one thing I wanted to point out real quick, what's up, dude? See if you can get your mic to work. But I'll just finish this statement. We'll see if Eggers can get his mic to work. But one thing I do want to notice is volume. We still have relatively low volume comparatively to the drop. When we were pumping, it was much higher. I'd say like really the confirmation pump above 53K. We had a lot of volume come in. It was stair stepping the whole time. Yes, I guess you
Hey,
could.
bro.
Yo, what's up?
How you going? You alright?
Good, man. How are you?
Just give me 1 sec. I'll just grab a glass of water.
Yeah, no worries,
Voice is a
man.
bit fucked up. I just woke up.
No
Just give me
problem,
one
dude.
tick. I'll be back in a sec.
Yeah, no worries. So again, guys, we saw stair stepping as we bottomed. You could argue that maybe this is stair stepping volume, but we're not making, that higher close, that higher high with stair stepping volume. To me, this volume, this spike today, I mean, one, that was a news event. And we know that news events don't last long, whether they're bearish or bullish. Um, I can show you plenty of times there's been a news event where a week or two later we dumped back to the mean in price. I mean, think about the COVID crash. When Bitcoin dropped 80%, it returned to the mean. Yeah, it took about a month and a half, but it still returned to the mean. It didn't take any volume. It didn't take any insane TA to know that Bitcoin was going to return to the mean, just like the stock market did. What are your thoughts on the increased Bitcoin influx on Bitfinex versus the opposite on overall exchanges? So, Juan, I've seen a lot of reports that there is a ton of Bitcoin inflow. I actually have a tweet pulled up on my phone. This tweet says emergency alert. 2,180 Bitcoin inflows to exchanges in the last hour. This is just one report. I'm sure there are several of them. I saw a report on Sunday that there was over 17,000 Bitcoin moved to exchanges. I also think, as great as on-chain data looks, it's very manipulative. You can change, change which exchanges you want to look at. You can change which wallets you want to look at specifically within certain ranges. It's just kind of like TA. Like you can look at TA, right? And you could draw or make a bullish case with what this chart's doing. I'm sure you can. But just for me and what's happening overall, I try to keep it simple. I try to show you, where the big moves are happening. And overall, this isn't very bullish yet. Could it change? Sure. But to me, we're still continuing trend. And we have about 45 minutes until this candle closes. If we really want to be bullish, if we really want to escape this trend, we need to close above 50,600, like about 50,700 area, as low as 50,550 in my opinion. Gonna open up the moving averages. Why not? Kind of looks like we just bounced off the 200 daily. I will say with very, very low volume. I mean, looking across the other exchanges, we still have very, very low buying volume. I can't say that this is quite bullish yet. We need more volume to come in. We need this structure to look healthier, especially gaining momentum back to continue a potential bull run. But again, I really think we're in a bear market now. We see retail is really non-existent. Do a Google trend, type in Bitcoin. Bitcoin hasn't been searched nearly half as much since last year.
All right, bro.
Yo, what's up, man?
I'm all good.
Yo,
Do you mind if
yeah, you
I share
can.
my screen?
Yeah, for sure. So, what did you, Eggers? What did you think of the pump today? What do you think it changes anything? Do you think it changed anything?
I'll tell you what, last night, so I live in Australia, right? This was happening at 3 a.m. as it normally does. And so I saw it dumping, and I thought, okay. So remember I was telling you in the chat, 46.5 has got to hold. So I
Yeah,
thought I'll put in a cheeky long at 46.6, which worked out pretty well actually. With a very tight stop loss, just under 46.5. And that worked out pretty well. So I was expecting a pump, and even if it didn't pump, it would have been a small loss anyway, right? So just playing the ranges between 46.5 and 50K.
yeah,
I just cashed out this morning when I woke up at 48 point whatever it was,
yeah,
48.9 or whatever it was. So I was expecting a pump because so what happens normally when there's a news event and everyone's overly bullish or overly bearish towards the news event, the exact opposite tends to happen. So I was expecting people to be too bearish, dump the price, and then all of a sudden you get like one of these scam pumps up, you know.
Exactly.
So that's what I thought about it. The price is still under 50K. 50K is major resistance right now. As long as it's under 50K, I remain very bearish. Yeah, I mean, those are my thoughts on that pump.
So a lot of my viewers right now, or a couple of them I know, are wondering, have you seen, so, you know, non-biased, because both you and I are pretty bearish right now. Haven't you seen a lot of inflow of Bitcoin coming back onto exchanges? I know Inspo, well, who is that? Inspo Crypto on Twitter. He's been sharing data point after data point of tens of thousands of Bitcoins coming to exchanges, right? What do you think about that?
So I was part of yeah, I know what you mean. I'm part of a chat on Twitter, and they were showing me apparently whales are inflowing a lot of Bitcoin on exchanges like Bitfinex, but there's a lot of outflow apparently on other exchanges, anything but Bitfinex. I don't know what the hell's going on there. I did hear rumors in the past that there's like some sort of whale wars or the whales are fighting each other.
Whale
So
Wars.
yeah, like
That's a TV show.
there's a massive kind of like misunderstanding. Everyone thinks that whales are all like in it together and they're all like plotting against retail. And if you think about it, that doesn't make any sense. There would be factions out there like little whale groups. So you have like, you know, your Asian whales and then you have your European ones and Americans and Middle Eastern ones are another big one. So they're kind of like fighting each other all the time. So that would explain a lot of this choppy price action up and down. There's certain whales that want to dump it really badly, and there are other whales that want to keep it propped up, right? So I
Yeah.
think you can definitely see that on the 1 day candles. So you can see all these long wicks both up and down. There's a lot of choppy action at the moment. Basically, the market is very undecided. Um, but yeah, like you mentioned before, it's still lower highs. You know, still didn't break that 50K support. I mean, resistance level.
And
Nowhere
minimally,
near mid 50s.
yeah, minimally, I think we have to close a 4 hour at least above 50 before we can even make an argument that we're going to
Yeah.
continue up.
Yeah, so I'll show you if you don't mind. I'll show you what I'm
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
at
Go ahead
right
and
now.
share your screen. I'll
Um,
pull it up. You do you know how to do it?
yeah, bro. Yeah, so I'm just doing it on Discord, right?
Yeah, yeah. So you would do it in this call.
No worries.
Yeah, cool. Put
Can you
you
see
up.
it?
It's loading. You must have
Yeah.
that shitty Australian Wi-Fi, because man, this is taking a while. All right, cool.
All right. You see my chart over here?
Yeah.
Alrighty. So I kind of discovered this. I stumbled upon this yesterday, right? As I was looking around, I look at all sorts of shit all the time, obviously. So okay, let's go back a step, right? Let's take it from the beginning. I'll just hide all this crap. So, like you mentioned before, the trend line, right? Connecting up all the bottoms and whatnot. So I had this a little bit higher up to connect this one as well.
Oh, this is a 2 day. I was like, why is your Ichimoku
Yeah, it's a
cloud?
2 day, bro.
Okay,
It's
I
a
see
2 day.
that. I see that.
So,
Oh, look at that. Wow. We're just
yeah,
retesting
so
that downtrend line. Holy shit.
yeah. So that downtrend line is massive resistance, right? And it comes around, you know, as I was saying before, around 50K mark, 50.7, whatever is at today. But we're looking at the 2 day. On the daily, it'll be a little bit different, right? So there we go.
Wow.
On the daily, it matches up a
Look
lot
at those
nicer.
rejections too. I'm gonna have to add that to my
Yeah.
chart.
Boom, boom, boom. Right. So that's a cool one to have. So this is like one of my main charts I'm looking at. This yellow over here, I'll explain that in a second. This horizontal line, right? So I'm just giving you the big picture. So if we go on the 2 day Ichimoku cloud, right? So I'm not sure if everyone's familiar with this one, but this is kind of like a very common uh, indicator that people use in crypto and forex and all sorts of things, stock market, right? So it's called Ichimoku. I just use the basic Ichimoku one, nothing too fancy. To make it look, so what we're looking at here is basically a bunch of moving averages. So the red and yellow, red and blue are the moving averages, right? And this is what they call Ichi cloud, right? So it's already, it already fell underneath the Ichi cloud when we had that massive dump, that is never a good sign. That is always indicative of a bear market, right? So over here we fell, over here we fell out. Over here it was very close to falling out, right? But it had like a little.
Oh, we had
I
that
reckon
spoofing.
this was a
I'm
massive
still
scam dump.
saying, I'm still saying we had spoofing. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, 100%. This is when I was overly like I was so bearish. I was 100% certain we're gonna dump, right? Look at this scam pump right up there. So anyway, whatever. That's long gone. Who cares about this stuff, right? What we're looking at is over here today. So let me just grab my little brush tool. Alrighty. So this is the daily. So I thought, okay, I look at different time frames all the time. I look at weird time frames, and I look at, for example, 8-hour time frame, 6-hour time frame, 12-hour time frame. I don't just look at the same old crap that everyone watches. So I was looking at the 2-day, and I spotted a pattern here where when it loses the cloud on the 2-day, it has a massive dump.
Yeah. Okay.
And it happened here, right? So let's make this a little bit smaller so you can see it. So I'm going to zoom out a bit. So it happened here, had a huge dump. It happened here, COVID dump, right? So we had a huge dump. And this was exactly like, if you look at it, it looks exactly as soon as it loses the cloud, the next open and close is like a huge dump, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm just giving you a bit of like the big picture.
Look at like the mini bear market that we had, or mini bull market that we had in 2019. Look at when we lost
here as well. This was a dump as well, of course, 100%. Wow. So it dumped from. So I'm taking it from the top of. I'm taking the measurements from the top of the candle, right, inside the cloud, just before it dumped, and pulling it to the bottom. So let's say, 33%, right? I mean the bottom where the trend finished and it started reversing up, right? So that's still a 35% drop. That will take us to around 30K Bitcoin right now. I did the calculations yesterday. So 30% drop from here at our current level will take us to 30,000, right? This was a 50% drop. I posted a chart on Twitter yesterday. This COVID dump was a 50% drop. Everyone knows that, right? This was another one. This was the peak of 2017, right? The cloud over here, look at that. As soon as we lost it, we did retest it, which is cool, anywhere near losing the cloud, it just has a massive dump. So even this one over here, we'll take it from the top of the candle there. That's a 50% drop. Although it might not look at it on the chart, it went from 11.6K to what, 5.8K, right? That's a 50% drop. Yeah. That means that would take us from 48K to 24K.
Oh, that'd be perfect.
So it doesn't look like it. Like in the chart, you think, oh yeah, you got some green candles, you got some red ones. Yeah. That's a 50% drop, bro.
Yeah, that's a lot.
There's nothing to be messing with, right? So that was 20. So I'll just mark it over here.
27. Right? Yeah.
2017 top. So this was a top, and then bear market entered. Basically, this confirmed the bear market 100% certainty. And look, every time I try to come and retest, rejected, retest, rejected, retest, rejected, and so on. And we just keep going lower and lower.
So when we get above the cloud, that would be an indication of we're looking very bullish.
Exactly. So another thing you notice, obviously, when it's in a bull market, it stays above the cloud. I mentioned that before.
Stays above and retests.
Bounces on the cloud. Okay, let's go back to. Oh, damn! I got this on the.
Yeah, you have to use which
Bitstamp one.
Yeah, Bitstamp.
So I'll just make this one a little bit. So I'm just showing you. I'm going back to 2014.
Yeah.
So the reason why I swapped the charts there is because Bitstamp has the preview. I'm just saying for your viewers, Bitstamp has historical data that goes back to 2014.
Yep.
The chart I was using is the Binance one. Coinbase one, because it has like the best, most accurate volume and stuff like that, all the data. Yeah. So anyway, so we're going back to 2014. So over here, when it loses the cloud, right? So over here, it lost it initially, then it started messing with it. So let's measure this as well. So it was messing around with this cloud for a bit. Even that initial drop was 35%. It tried to retest it, and it dropped again from there.
I'm guessing that's close to a 50. Yeah, 50%. Another 50% drop.
So you're looking when we lost it, right? You're looking at either 30% or 50%.
Yeah.
So you're looking at either 24K or 30K.
I'm cool with whatever, man.
Numbers.
I think if we went down to 30K, we'd see a nice dead cat bounce, and then we'd dump it again, similar to 2014. It would make a lot of sense. So, for all the people in the chat, I can I can tell you're from my Discord because of the the market equals F and G. I'm not going to say that out loud, but appreciate the content. That's great.
Yeah, it's yeah, no
But yeah,
problem, bro.
no, it's yeah, no, you're definitely right, and it's definitely fiddling around with it. I would be surprised if it holds, and even if it does hold, like I still don't think the global sentiment, the retail sentiment, and just everyone overall, like you don't just generate parabolic volume when half of the market's like I don't know what's happening, or even when 30 to 40% of the market's like I don't know what's happening, I'm just gonna sit out. Like think about how many people, you and I included, are like I'm not trading this market, and we have enough money where it maybe we don't push the price up as much as some of these whales, but you take all those people that have all of that money, and that still is going to help push price up. That's still going to help get smaller investors in, because if someone, if 10 of my friends now say, hey, you're buying Bitcoin, I'm going to buy it too, that's, that ultimately helps charge parabolic price action. So, and I still don't see it. Wow, I love that lower trend line.
Trend line?
I'm putting
Yeah,
that
it's
on my
sexy,
chart
right?
right now, so I don't forget.
Sexy,
But
right?
yeah, I mean, I had said.
Today,
Oh, go ahead. You continue.
sorry to cut you off. I was just gonna finish off by saying today, this is what I'm watching. So this is since we're on the 2 day, right? Today is the fifth. Today is the 16th, but the next close is gonna be on the 17th, which is in 30 minutes, right? So I'm watching this very closely. If it closes a candle body below this 48, this yellow number here,
Yeah.
it's pretty much game over for me if it closes below it, right? So not this fake out crap where it fakes out. You see over here they rescued it,
Here,
scam bumped it up.
Let me put you back in
They
here.
keep chopping it up and down, but all you're doing, all it's doing is this. That's all it's doing, and it goes lower and lower, and eventually it's going to make a decision, right? Somewhere,
Yeah.
probably around here or somewhere, where it's going to decide, right? I've had enough of this. I'm just going to take a massive,
Yeah.
massive
Especially
dump
with
again.
all of
So
the inflows we've seen, I think today was a liquidation trap. I knew that. That's why I sold my long, because I just didn't know what was going to happen, and I saw that the news was really bullish towards the dollar, not necessarily towards assets and stocks and crypto. Per my understanding, if someone in chat wants to correct me, feel free. But from what I understand, it was pretty bullish for the dollar. I know they're trying to lower inflation, which is typically not good for assets that are not the dollar.
yeah, I mean that. So what? The Fed news was that they're gonna.
he
So basically,
says
they're
he
gonna
says
accelerate the tapering.
fun and great. Yeah, fun and great. That's great.
So the Fed news was that they're gonna accelerate the tapering, right?
Yeah.
So how the hell is that bullish, like in the long term?
Yeah, and
It's just it
like
doesn't
I
make any
said,
sense,
and
right?
like you said, nothing has really changed yet. Also, I want
Yeah,
to note that okay, for me to really change some sentiment, at least even short term, we have to get, I was convinced today for like an hour. I'm like, we're gonna close above 50K, and now I'm seeing that we're not. And also, thinking back to what I've said 1,000 times, anyone that's in my Discord, I've said news does not pump this market. It initially does. It initially pumps this market and can pump it decently. But right after that news flash is done, we dump so hard, and retail gets the
yeah.
worst of it because retail buys the news, and all the whales are like, haha, you're an idiot, and they sell it. So, I mean,
That's
that's,
right. They it's a liquidity trap, right? So the whales will be seeing the order books,
man, I really need
order books
Ethereum.
going crazy.
We have 30 minutes. So I don't know if you're looking at my screen, but look at Ethereum real quick. And maybe I have this wrong. There's a slight chance that maybe I have this line wrong, or maybe I should use logarithmic. But check this out. So Ethereum's macro trend line here, it broke back inside macro trend. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Let me have a look. So I'm just watching it on YouTube. Just give me a sec. It's
Oh
for
yeah,
some
it's
reason
gonna
it's
take.
delayed for me.
Yeah, it's delayed by like a minute. I forgot about that. Here I can share my screen with you.
Yeah.
Here you go. So yeah, check this out. The one thing that I wanted today, if we were really gonna look bearish again, is if Ethereum closes back below like 3,900, possibly, possibly 3,950, 3,960. Really, we need to lose the orange line again. Could we lose it tonight? Yeah, that's always a possibility. But I didn't like how this daily was getting back above, some serious resistance, or what should have been serious resistance. And maybe my line's wrong, but I don't know. What do you think about that? Because I know Ethereum can definitely prop up this market, or at least, not forever like Bitcoin can, but Ethereum can definitely prop the rest of the market up if people buy it.
Oh, you're already streaming my screen. Okay, so I think, which I've been
Oh,
saying for a while.
sorry to interrupt, Egris. For those of you guys that don't know, the guy that's talking, his name is Egris. His at not Egris on Twitter. I was kind of he just messaged me. He's like, "Do you mind if I come on?" So I was like, "Hell yeah, dude, get on here." So for those of you that don't know, it's Egris. What do you have right now? Like 11,000 followers or something on Twitter. So if you guys don't
Up to
know,
17,
you're at 17.
getting up. Yeah,
Oh,
17.5, bro.
let's go.
Getting up there. Moving on up in the world.
My follower count's
The
going up
thing
and
with it,
my
to start my own
portfolio's
YouTube
going
channel
down.
as well. But
Yeah, yeah.
we'll see. We'll see how this market goes.
Yeah, so again,
So
for
what were you
the
saying about Ethereum before,
yeah,
right?
so look at
Um,
Ethereum real quick. I mean, just basic lines on a chart. I can pull up the moving averages, but maybe we're just trying to test the 20 daily. I don't know. I mean, I don't like how this breaks above macro uptrend, but maybe Ethereum wasn't really ready for a big drop, or maybe this was uptrend. I don't know.
yeah, so
Um,
I've been watching. Let's pull up some fibs, right? So we'll go from the top. Oops, wrong way around. Reverse that. Right. So I've been saying 3,900 is a number to watch, like you mentioned before as well. So they're 3,900, and you can notice that it's like, what is that, 3,855, the bottom of the cloud. So the Ichi cloud, right?
yeah.
So what we'll do is make this look cleaner. We'll remove the MAs and
Oh, so it's like
same thing.
literally okay. So it's the same thing. It actually lost the cloud for a little
3,853.
bit.
Yeah. So what we got here, like it's bouncing on any fibs. Yeah. So 0.786 over here is in confluence with this number, right?
Yeah.
So that's not looking too good at all. Like it looks like it has to keep pumping from here, right? To me, it looks
Yeah.
like it has to keep doing this and keep going up. But over here, what do you see over here is a Kumo, what they call a Kumo twist.
That's when
So
you
when the
twist when
cloud
that
twists from
happens.
bullish
Yeah,
to
to
bearish, and that's
bearish.
happening what on the 29th of December, so the end of the month. So basically, it has between now and the end of the month over here. So if we put down a vertical line, um, to make a decision, right? And this is usually a bearish indicator. Usually, I mean,
Yeah.
over here it faked out, right, and it went crazy.
Yeah.
But it's like it gives you an indication of what it might be doing next, or what it's thinking of doing next.
Yeah.
So
I would
to me,
also
it looks
argue
like,
over here. So for those of you guys
yeah,
that can see my screen over here, to the left where we had that fake out, that's a double bottom. Even though I know there was a ton of spoofing and whatnot, that is still a double bottom. And like, look what we're having now. That's nothing. Like
you're
what's
looking at
happening.
September.
So I'm
Is that the one
looking,
you're
yeah,
looking at?
yeah, that whole thing. That to me, if you
Yeah,
look at a 12-hour or even a 4-hour, there's
yeah,
a
4 hour.
double
Yeah,
bottom all day on this chart. Like that's not a double bottom.
yeah,
And
oh, yeah.
again,
That's like a triple bottom, right? Look
yeah,
at it.
yeah.
Yeah, on the 4 hour.
And either
So
way, it makes a super clean symmetrical triangle, which to me in this market, symmetrical triangles are generally bullish, even in a downtrend. I find them still generally bullish for whatever
yeah,
reason. I don't know why, but that's just how it
they're good
goes.
for kind of like timing, breakouts and all that sort of stuff, right?
Yeah,
At the moment, like same as Bitcoin, like it's just lower high, lower lows. The overall trend is down, right? It's going
yeah,
in this direction. So to me, it has a lot has a lot to prove that it is going to keep bullish. But Ethereum is usually, I say this on my Twitter as well. Ethereum is a good one to watch because it kind of like dictates the health of the altcoin market. So if Ethereum is dumping, then everything else is going to follow even more so. At the moment, it's holding up better than Bitcoin, to be honest, because it still hasn't lost the cloud on the daily
yeah,
with a full candle body outside of it. So surprisingly, it's bullish, which could indicate potentially a bit of a rotation from Bitcoin to Ethereum by the whales. So what I mean by that is in previous markets and previous cycles, let's say, there's usually, everyone talks about these rotations, like people rotating money from Bitcoin to Ethereum, then from Ethereum to altcoins, and that's what they call an altcoin season, right? So there might be a bit of that happening. That's why the price is doing a bit better than Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's still bearish. The trend is bearish.
That, or
So
it's just having a delay. I've noticed it's been having a delayed reaction to Bitcoin. When Bitcoin pumped from like 53 to 69, Ethereum took like a week later to pump, right? So to really get above and really start making new all-time, or not new all-time highs, to really start putting in highs. So I mean, just my opinion, but Bitcoin just dumped, and I think Ethereum will follow that dump, especially if Bitcoin dumps again, we're out of this are we bullish, are we bearish stage. But I know that when people are like, are we bullish, are we bearish, how can you develop parabolicism or parabolic price action when everyone's uncertain? I mean, even the moon boys are questioning, am I bullish or am I bearish? I can guarantee it, no matter what they're fucking tweeting, they're questioning what's happening right now, especially with the lowest amount of volume this market has seen for such a great high.
yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, like in the short term, in the near term, like for the remainder of the month, this is just chop to me. This is just playing within, like I said before, Bitcoin's playing between 50K and 46.5 at the moment. So that's
Yeah.
a very choppy range.
Yeah.
What was I looking at before? The VPVR. So this is a volume profile thing, indicator. It's a good one to have on. So you see over here, there's not a hell of a lot between 38 and 32-ish, 34. There's not much. So in the short term, if Ethereum was to become more bearish, this is kind of like the level where I would see it going, and kind of maybe stabilize around here. So this is where it has the best volume profile, right? And previous, moves up and down. That's kind of where I see Ethereum going by the end of the month. If somehow, for whatever reason, it becomes bullish, then it needs to get above this cloud. So it needs to get above 4,300 and keep going.
Yeah.
I just don't see that happening, honestly.
Neither do I. I think what happened today was, if you were in a long and the news happened, great, but I think it's short lived because we've known that
Yeah.
most news is very short lived. Also, so I don't know if you can see my screen, but I have the Ethereum Bitcoin chart up. So take a look at this. Someone wanted to check this out. What I see is a breakout, somewhat of a retest, and now we're going back to try and get above this golden line. That golden line is weekly resistance, at least on my chart. So for me, I think, if we dump again, and if Ethereum outperforms Bitcoin, which it did on that last dump, then we're going to see probably a miniature alt season. And by alt season, I mean that alts are probably just going to recover faster, better than Bitcoin, meaning they're going to see like a 20 to 80% pop. I don't think alts are going to do like a 20x, 30x, 50x. Like I just don't see that happening. A lot of altcoins already saw parabolic gains, and I don't think enough retails in the space to pump most altcoins up from where they are. Also, a lot of altcoins have lost like 70% of their value. It's crazy. And they've lost macro uptrends. They lost macro uptrends long before Bitcoin did.
So with the altcoins, it's a bit funny, right? I agree with you, but at the same time, if you think back in 2017, 2018, when altcoins, after Bitcoin peaked and it started going into a bear market, right? On that initial dead cat bounce, a lot of altcoins pumped up. That's kind of what I'm hoping for is going to happen this time around as well. There's nothing is a guarantee in this game, right? But I'm hoping, speculating that Bitcoin is going to have a bit of a hissy fit and dump to like 40K or maybe even 30K. Who knows? Nobody really knows where it's going to stop dumping. I mean, we can speculate, right? So I'm guessing somewhere between 30 and 40K it's going to dump to. And then on that retrace back up, what a lot of analysts are calling a dead cat bounce, that's when a lot of altcoins will go crazy, because what's going to happen is altcoins will get slashed even more so. Like you mentioned before, they already dumped by 70% or something, right?
Yeah.
They will get it will be a massacre. So they're going to dump even harder. You're looking at maybe sub $1 ADA, that sort of stuff, $15 freaking whatever Polkadot or whatever under that number. So they're going to get slaughtered. But on the retrace back up, that might be a good time to buy in if you're gambling that Bitcoin is going to retrace and do a dead cat bounce up to like, I don't know, who knows, 50K again, whatever. I mean, I don't know the levels yet because it hasn't happened. So what I'm trying to say is we can only speculate right now what might happen. But in
Yeah.
2017, alts went crazy on that dead cat bounce. So that's kind of what I'm betting on. At the moment, I'm watching, as you probably know already, XRP a lot because they have this court case running, and
Yeah.
it looks like
You
there
and your
might be a
XRP
conclusion
man, I
next month.
swear.
Yeah, so they have the final stage of the court case. It's gonna happen next month.
Okay.
They have a court date on the 14th of January. And basically, any time after the 14th of January, the judge can make a decision on the case. That's how I see it.
Interesting.
So it might be the reason why I mentioned XRP a lot is because XRP is going to go up if other altcoins go up, right? Regardless if it beats the case or not. So
Yeah.
if Bitcoin dumps to like, let's say 35K or whatever, then XRP will go up on the retracement on the dead cat bounce. Regardless, it will go up probably in tandem with Bitcoin. If they win their case, then that thing is going to go straight to Mars. Never mind, it's going to skip the fucking moon. It'll go straight to Mars. Like we're talking over $5 very easily. I reckon between $5 to $7 if I had to pick it.
The only
So
problem I have with
yeah,
that is like most of your American investors, unless if they win the case, we can buy, but none of us could have accumulated unless we used a no KYC exchange or
yeah.
non KYC.
So I
exchange.
mean, I use KuCoin, right, for that. I don't know if you guys can log into it from America, but I think you can always get a VPN, right, to spoof the location so you can log into it. I've been using KuCoin quite a bit lately. Yeah, so I mean, that's kind of where I see things going. Maybe over the next, let's say, by the end of January, between now and the end of January. So I see Bitcoin dumping a bit more. Um, the other alternative scenario is it pumps past that 50K mark I mentioned before, and it kind of just hangs around that between 50 to 57K, something like that, and it just keeps bouncing around that area. I'm not really, I wouldn't like that to happen because it's very risky to get into altcoins at that moment in time, because what could happen is Bitcoin could pull a hissy fit and drop below 50K and have a massive dump, right? So
Yeah.
everything is a gamble right now, bro. Nothing is certain in this, and this is what people need to understand. Like TA is just like, all you're doing is you're playing with probabilities and you're playing with the data that you have in front of you. Nobody knows what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah.
That's the wrong way to look at it. It's not like a crystal ball. It's not like you're a magician and you
Man, if
can,
it was
make things
if it
happen.
was only that easy.
Right? So what we need to do, what we need is we make probabilities as guesswork with educated guessing, I call it, right? And I've used it on the log chart, by the way. I always use a log chart because my reasoning behind that is Bitcoin is an exponential growth asset, right? So it's always going to be better tracked in logarithmic rather than a normal scale, right? I mean, if I was going to do it in intraday trading, I'll probably use the non-log scale, so the normal, normal scale. But yeah, so anyway, what was I saying before? So it's all guesswork. All we're doing is speculating, guessing what's going to happen, right? At any given moment, like I was saying on my Twitter the other day, this thing could just do a COVID crash, right?
That would be
Nobody
great.
knows when that's
I
going
would
to
love
happen.
I would love it
You know?
if we had what you guys should think to yourself, because we have this Omicron, what is it? Omicron, what is the right terminology for that? Omicron, whatever the COVID variant
Yeah,
is.
Omicron, I think. Yeah.
I know what was it? Stanford College had like 900 cases or new cases that just opened up. They're talking about shutting down the school. They're talking about shutting down everything. What you guys should, or how you should position yourself, is you should have some cash. Because if we dump, let's say 50%, 60, 70, 80%, you should buy. No, I don't think it matters what you buy. I think you need to buy something, even if it's crypto, because we saw with COVID what happened months later. We saw what happened days later. It went from 5 to 8K within 3 or 4 days. It was it was fucking crazy to trade that. You could have bought at 3, 4, 5K. I mean, you could have even bought at 6 and you got to 10, and then we went through a bull market. Now, granted, this market cycle, the timing is kind of iffy because it's coming close to an end or has ended, but I still think as an accumulation perspective, I mean, shit, that a COVID crash could or another crash could be huge. And I think one is coming. I mean, the stock market's pretty much uh, telling us. We know that billionaires are selling. We know that we've seen some of the most selling in stock market history over the last 6 months. It's something's coming. I could be that crazy guy and say it for the next 5 years. I won't be that guy, but I have a wealth advisor from Wells Fargo that told me not to buy stocks and to wait. So I'm going to go with his advice because he's a licensed financial advisor or wealth advisor.
Yeah, 100%. And I agree with you 100% on everything you just said. Like basically the stock market has been in a bull market for over 10 years, and it needs to dump a little bit at least. So I was around, I'm old enough, like I'm a millennial, but I'm in my, early 30s. I was around when the last 2007, 2008 recession hit, and that was nasty. And they think that this one is going to be even worse, much worse.
Yeah.
The reason behind that is because the amount of leverage and the amount of money, monopoly money, as I call it, that's in the system. Everyone knows this, right? What do you think is going to happen once that crashes? You're looking at a 50% drop at least,
Yeah.
from current prices. Um, yeah, and if that happens, you can say goodbye to Bitcoin. I mean, this thing will crater into the ground. Never mind 20K. 20K will be a dream. It will go sub 10K easily. If stocks crash 50%, you're gonna see probably like somewhere between $3,000, $6,000 Bitcoin. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even being overly bearish. That's just the facts.
That'd be an amazing place to accumulate. Holy shit.
It would be, and what I was gonna say before at that point that you said, like, it's fantastic, but you got to look at the greater economic picture, right? So,
Yeah.
COVID was a good time to buy, but it doesn't mean that if we crash 50% today, it's gonna be a good time to go all in.
Yeah. I
Because
never do that. I was more or less saying, or as an accumulation period.
yeah,
I mean,
that's right.
I'm a firm believer in crypto and blockchain. I think there are plenty of cryptocurrencies that'll never be used. I think they'll go to zero. I really don't think we'll have more than maybe 10 when they're actually used. I do think Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a couple of different altcoins will survive. And with that said, I think there will be 5 to 6 new projects that are way better than those projects that survive. I think you got to remember the OGs, they survive no matter what. The no Gs, they don't survive. The eight, like I don't think ADA is going to survive. I don't think VET is going to survive. Matic might,
I think
but
when it comes to that, I think maybe, and this is very optimistic, right? Maybe, and we're not talking meme coins, we're not talking any of these stable coins. Out of the top 100 coins, it's very hard for me to pick 10 that will survive
yeah,
that sort of crash,
yeah.
And I'm talking, what I'm looking at, what will survive is, like you said, the OGs, XRP, Ethereum, Bitcoin. They will stay. They're going to be around.
Litecoin will
Litecoin,
survive. So
they'll stay.
Litecoin will
They'll be around,
somehow survive. I don't know how Litecoin will survive, but it will survive.
Yeah. And you're looking at things like Chainlink. Chainlink is a great, it's a great coin actually. And things like that, what I call blue chips, right?
Yeah.
No, I'm not talking about shit coins like outside of the top 100. I'm not even looking at those. Those will go to almost zero.
Yeah.
You might as well not even bother. And what happens is, think of it this way. So I was thinking about this scenario the other day. Everyone's saying, "Oh no, this time is different." Okay, think of this scenario. So as I mentioned before, in 2007, 2008, I was around. I was very young. I was only like a teenager still, right? But it was very hard for me to find a job at that time. They don't give young people jobs. You'll be the first one to be laid off. The same as old people. Old people and young people are screwed if a depression, recession comes around. You'll be screwed. You'll be struggling to make it by. You'll be struggling to survive, right? The last thing you'll be thinking about is buying a fucking Bitcoin or whatever, because you got to pay bills, you got to feed yourself, right? All this stuff. So think of it from that perspective. What I'm trying to say is, okay, you have all this. So basically, the way I look at crypto is I look at it as tech stocks, highly leveraged tech stocks. So basically, all these coins that you see are just tech companies. At the end of the day, Ethereum is a company. At the end of the day, XRP is backed by Ripple, which is a company, right? You're looking at tech stocks, And what happens is, if these coins start cratering, they're not going to be able to pay their staff. They're not going to be able to pay the developers. They're not going to be able to pay their books are going to go under. A lot of these coins, companies, whatever you want to call them, are going to go under because they won't be able to afford to stay alive, to stay afloat.
Yeah,
So
and people
everyone's like,
want
oh,
to
this
be
stuff
in
is
cash
different.
too. Like you don't want
Yeah,
it. Like you can't. I mean, let's be real, guys. As much as I want to believe in cryptocurrency, that right now, if I'm hungry and we are in a recession, and I go up to you and I say, "Oh, I'll give you an Ethereum for a month's worth of food," you're gonna sit there and laugh in my face because you can't do anything with
exactly.
that. Like
Yeah,
you can't do it. No one's gonna buy your Ethereum from you after I sell it to you, and you'd be an idiot to buy it. You want cash. You want guns. You want ammo. You want food.
yeah.
You want uh, your basic needs, and the only thing that'll get you through that is physical, like cash or gold or silver or other precious metals, other precious goods. I don't. If the world goes to shit, people aren't giving each other Bitcoin for food. Like people aren't
No
going to be
way.
on their computers. They're going to be trying to figure out how to eat. They're going to be trying to figure out XYZ of what to do.
That's
They're going to
right.
be
So,
farming in their yard because they're not going to be able to get food. But yeah,
so it's
man.
like the way I would approach it is maybe, like you said before, I scale in, right? And look at it long term. Like look at it at least 10 years. So the way I would see it is, so I invest in other things as well, like stock market. I'm looking at getting some real estate, that sort of stuff. So you want to look at your overall portfolio, dedicate a certain percentage to it. So let's say whatever you're comfortable with, right? Some people might be comfortable only with 10%, other people 50%. Whatever, you come up with that number, that's on
Guns
you.
are basic.
So for me, it'll be something like 20% of my portfolio I'll be dedicating to crypto. And that's quite conservative, but I'll be averaging in over 10 years. Then after 10 years, I would see the prices go like absolutely ballistic again. So
Yeah.
if we enter like a multi-year bear market and stock market, which is on average, by the way, it's at least minimum 2.5 years from some statistics I saw. On average, the minimum bear market is 2.5 years. So
This
so
guy
2.5 years in crypto, I mean that will crater prices, right? And
Tickle Missile goes,
think
no
about
one
it.
will be farming shit coins. Yeah, you're right. No one's going to be farming shit coins ever. No, yeah.
So,
So, yeah,
like,
sorry to
yeah, so,
interrupt you.
just invest in blue chips. If we crash, blue chips, and just dedicate like DCA in, right? 20% of your whatever, divide that by 12 months and DCA in every month. Just put in the same amount. Stop thinking about going all in. Stop thinking about like, oh, I'm gonna make a killing and it's gonna bounce back. No, look at it like long term. Like you said, I'm a believer in crypto as well. I'm pretty bullish on crypto long term because what it is, essentially, it's innovation, right? You're betting on innovation.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to take off. It will have its day, but first it needs to go through this massive like wash cycle where it gets rid of all these shit coins. They got to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, they
This shit is
get
just
out.
terrible for
Well,
everything
they're
and
just
everyone.
pump and dump. They're just pump and dump too. There's nothing like what does Sheeb do for anybody? What does Asscoin do for anybody? I mean, these are clearly pump and dumps. I mean, great, you made a bunch of money off it, but what does it actually do for anybody? It does
Yeah,
nothing. It virtually does nothing. Sorry to interrupt you. One thing I wanted to
not as
say real quick. So I'm looking at this 4 hour, and I've seen a lot of things that this is a double bottom. I'd have to disagree. So one thing I've noticed being in this market for as long as I have is patterns that are symmetrical and are following overall sentiment. So yes, okay, let's say that this is a double bottom on a 4 hour. We're going to say it's potentially a double bottom on the 4 hour. Okay, we'll zoom out and go to the 12 hour. So what does the 12 hour look like? And honestly, I don't see any pattern really on the 12 hour. Maybe you could argue that this is a very wonky double bottom, but to be fair, I see 3 descending peaks all day. 3 descending peaks all day, which is a bearish pattern. Let's zoom out again to the daily. Again, I don't see a pattern here. I don't see anything good happening. Nothing obviously bad because this looks just like consolidation. Like we're just moving sideways.
You mean the three drive move? I think it was called like three drive chat.
Yeah. Well,
Drive.
it's 3 descending peaks for me. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
with trading, everything has a fucking different name.
Yeah, you're right.
But
I didn't
yeah.
even see that.
Yeah,
it
but
looks
I
exactly
mean, you
like
look
it.
at a 4 hour, 3 descending peaks, and that's
Yeah.
why I said, okay, I will start to change sentiment if we close above this blue line because that invalidates the 3 descending peaks, and I can guarantee you, if we are looking bullish at all, they want to play this as 3 descending peaks, get all of these shorts liquidated right here, and then they pump the shit out of it, and it looks like a penis. But yeah, I also want to say this 4 hour, we have a ton of volume that comes in, And I mean, yeah, maybe this is a little bit of stair stepping, but overall, volume is still very, very low. And this was a news pump. This was a very inorganic pump. It made all of the lower time frames super overbought. I mean, look at the 15, the 30, the 2 hour. Again, if this was really going to close above here, I'd want to see at least the next two candles green and over it. If that doesn't happen, or volume starts tapering off and we're going up slightly, that's another confirmation that this descending peaks is going to play out. I mean, you have 1, 2, 3. On this, you have volume moving down as price moving up for the first peak. Again, right here, volume pretty much moving down the entire time, other than the one big candle that was there, which was a rejection. That's why all that volume's there. And then we drop. And yet again, we're kind of going up. You know, volume, you can say, is going up in this case. But for me, I think these last two candles were a news event. You know, anything can happen at this point. But for me, it looks like 3 descending peaks. I would have thought with all of the momentum we had from this pump, we would have just kept pumping. And we didn't.
Yeah.
And right now is when volume, right now is when volume comes in. So if we really want to see this go, we need to see at least a 4-hour close, I'd say before tomorrow morning. If that doesn't happen, I think shorts are going to come in. We're going to see another dump. And with that said, you know, most patterns are very symmetrical. This is not symmetrical. You have this huge left shoulder or left side of the double bottom, and then just like a quick like yeet. And again, every time I've seen that in the past, it's never really played out the way you wanted it to. Like if I look back here, this is a very symmetrical double bottom. You have this, you know, we're going down with pretty low volume. We come back up, we come back down. We kind of consolidate down here for a couple hours, and then we pump up, and we keep that momentum the entire time. This over here, I don't think is the same thing. I think this is very inorganic. It looks very inorganic. And besides that fact, our daily still looks incredibly bearish. I mean, this just kind of looks like consolidation before a move down.
Yeah, so I can't believe I missed that 3 drive. You're right, 100% right, bro. And you can see it even better if you put on the 4-hour.
Yeah.
And you can see it if you put on the line chart instead of the bars, you'll see it even more clearly.
How do I change from? Oh, I got it.
Go to the top over there next to your where it says you see where you have your timelines, daily, 12-hour, monthly.
Oh, here
right
it
next
is.
to, yeah, line.
Oh,
you
yeah,
can see that, right?
That. Wow.
3 peaks, 3 distinct peaks.
Yeah.
Soon.
And honestly, we're still kind of going lower in price as these 3 peaks are made. Just like real quick, the last time I saw 3 descending peaks that I can recall before a giant dump was over here at 64K. We have 1, 2, 3, 100%. And we're downtrending. And as soon as the third peak forms, whoops, wow, I just grabbed the wrong tool. As soon as this third peak forms and we close below that last kind of little bit there, we go retest and shoot immediately down. That day, that was a tough day if you were one of my friends, because they bought close to that.
They bought the top.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. But yeah, I see this a very similar thing. We're essentially making lower lows. Granted, it's very. It's inconclusive because we have this low and now we have kind of what looks like a bottom, but I still think if we are going to be bullish, we need to come down one more time and then continue higher. I don't think this is ready to pump at all. I think what happened is news driven. I think a lot of people didn't even get a chance to buy, and you need buyers to pump the price. So,
and also you need buyers to pump the price. You need buyers to sustain the move up.
Yeah.
I mean, like
I don't think this move is sustaining. I think when we saw this double bottom back here, we very much went up. Okay, we pulled back a little bit. I mean, this is a 10% pump, so or 7% pump, and then we kind of go sideways and we pump up. But the one thing I do notice is we start to invalidate those 3 peaks, especially with this line right here. I mean, maybe you could argue that it's like this. Regardless, whether you go from wicks or from bodies, you break out. Like this is a breakout, this is a back test, and we go up. Right. And even though this is consolidation, it's still a very valid breakout. And we got that when the double bottom was formed. It's tricky. I can't say that it's not yet because it hasn't happened. Next week we'll know, or this Friday, we'll definitely have an answer in the next 2 days because what is this one? So this would be
and this confluence around, like I said before, that 50K mark, right? That's
Yeah,
around that 50K mark. So there's
exactly.
multiple confluence around that mark. So the thing is, if you see Bitcoin break out of this pattern or break out at all past 50K and then retest it, then we might be on to something different. But until then, I'm gonna be bearish. I'm gonna keep shit posting on Twitter and just do my thing, you know.
Yeah. So,
Bro,
okay.
I love it when it pumps like this because that's when all the little trolls come out and I can just
Oh my
block them.
God, they just come out of their caves, dude. It's ridiculous. Yeah, even with Ethereum, like this pump, I still don't see a daily pattern. You know, like I said, double bottom pump. We have a double bottom pump. Uh, you know, this is more of a consolidation move, but we still have a breakout back test pump. Look at this double bottom pump. I mean, patterns are what drive the force in this market. That's at least that's what I find, especially
Yeah.
on the daily. I mean, zooming out at all, you can find them fairly easily. That's how the market moves, or that's how people buy, or at least experienced traders. And generally, experienced traders have money, and that's how the market gets pushed up. You have like I said, double bottom, another double bottom right here, and I don't see anything yet. It doesn't necessarily have to be a double bottom, but I don't see anything yet, and I'm just going to be patient and wait because for me, I'm still seeing a lot of bearishness on this daily. Oh,
Yeah.
Terry, he says, y'all watching need to smash that like button. Yeah. So, real quick, just a little plug in here. For those of you that aren't in Discord, please join Discord. The link is below. I talked about it earlier. Just real quick, I'll give you a little run through. So this is my Discord. We have about 1,000 members. For those of you when you join, you know this is the welcome screen for you. It says "Welcome to Discord." Please see the rules. For those of you that don't know, we do have a Patreon. The Patreon's more or less there. Just I get a ton of DMs of people asking me, "Can I donate to you? Can I give you a little bit of Bitcoin? Like you've helped me so much. I feel like I owe you." So I created the Patreon just to be like, look, if you want to give back, feel free. If you don't, it doesn't matter. My Discord's like a public library. Anyone can come and use it. It's there for the people. It's for the people. Twitter, TradingView, Discord. I don't really post on TradingView anymore. I'm tired of the TradingView chat. It is the most toxic thing next to Twitter. I think Twitter's funny. But and then obviously the YouTube live stream, little introduction, whatever. We are at 1,040 members, so that's great. But for those of you that are new, make sure you go to the rules page, read the damn rules. I wrote them there for a reason. And make sure you hit this green check mark. You will not get access to the rest of this Discord until you hit this green check mark. And I know some of you little goblins are going to come in here, not read the rules, and hit the green check mark. And that's fine. Do your thing. But I would read them so you don't get banned. And then, of course, like live stream, all that. There is a general chat, but we have a crypto chat. It's very active, lots of charts. There's actually a bot, and I'll show you guys how to use it. Binance 4-hour. And I have a list of bot commands. Basically, what it does is it just builds a chart for you with whatever indicators, so you can kind of, you don't have to post screenshots like this guy did. And also, I have 20 trading mentors that can help you out. You can feel free to ping them anywhere. And then the most important thing I wanted to bring up is we have this Trading Basics channel. This is gold. There is more trading information here than you will find anywhere. It's filtered. It's only good stuff. There's trading books in here that are, you don't need to pay for. There's different types of analysis. There's how to swing trade, how to DCA, a ton of different stuff. So please join Discord. It is worth your while. With that said, if you like what Agris and I have said, please like and subscribe. If you guys really like to have an Agris on, I'll have to get him on here again before he starts his own YouTube channel. That way I can keep him here. But yeah, guys, really appreciate all of you guys coming out today. I guess, Agris, do you have anything else you want to say? I was going to talk a little bit more, but let you finish up here for sure.
Yeah, so yeah, like I said before, like it looks like it's coming to decision time soon, right? And I think it's going to be before the end of this month. I don't know exactly when it's going to happen. Like I said before, I don't have a crystal ball, but I think the market is going to decide which direction it's going to take. If we dump to, let's say 40K, as everyone keeps calling this dump at 40K, let's say mid 30s to 40K, and you see a strong reaction, you see some sort of formation happening, some sort of a strong bounce, that's when I'll be looking at entering the market into altcoins basically.
Yeah, yeah,
At the moment, majority of my cash is on the sidelines, so I'm not in the market right now,
yeah.
really. Um,
After my fuck up today, dude. So I tried to short mana. I was like, dude, mana just pumped like 16%. I'm gonna short it. I'm a genius. Dude, I shorted it, and like right when I put my stop down, I moved it like 2%, and I put like I put like an unnecessary amount of money in, and my
yeah, you
stop
get
was
scam
hit.
wicked.
My stop was hit within like a minute, and I was like, oh, there go all my week of profits. God damn it. But
Yes, the way like I'm not training this market is like you said before, it's way too choppy for me.
yeah.
Sure, you can do like some scalps and stuff like that if you're into that sort of thing. I mean, I have a day job. I don't day trade. I don't have the time
Nah,
for it.
that's yeah, I'm with
But
you. I'm done trying to scalp. I'm just getting antsy and bored. That's my problem. I'm just like I really need to not look below 4 hour anymore because I really got hosed today. I was like I took that loss and I was like, "Oh, I need to go outside and like
yeah, pretty
go for a
much.
walk." That was so
So
stupid.
the only move that I see coming up is like I said, if we drop lower, I'll buy back in, look for that swing trade up to 50K area. Then I'll be looking at exiting pretty much everything.
Yeah.
And then it's only going to be down from there. So once that dead cat bounce comes in, hits the head, around 50K or whatever it's going to be. I don't know the number yet because we need to wait to see the price actually develop. Once that dead cat bounce comes in, that's pretty much the end of it anyway. And it's just going to keep going down. I mean, you can short it if you wanted to and stuff like that, but everyone's got their own decisions to make. So that's
Man,
basically what I'm looking for. Yeah, and see what happens.
yeah, well, I'll definitely we'll have to stay in touch tonight. You know what'd be great is on this 15 minute, we just had a double top, and then that'd be fantastic. Similar to this. What I don't understand still is we had this like we're essentially at the same price we were yesterday night, right? Like we had this kind of like flash dump, and then we had a flash pump, and now we're kind of just chilling here again. So not a lot has changed. I know a lot of people are like, oh well, we're back to bull market, and guys, like, it's just not there yet. I would not be surprised if we dumped tomorrow. Like I'm talking like we lose 40K type shit. Like I would not be surprised by that. I think the whales pushed this price up one more time to load up shorts. I mean, that's essentially what three descending peaks is. They keep pushing. They start high and then another peak, and in each peak they're just adding more to their shorts and they're distributing. And we've seen a ton of distribution here and up here. And just to relate, a ton there. I think they're just holding it. And Agris, you can correct me if I'm wrong here. You can give your opinion too. I think they're prolonging this dump because they know they have the volume right now. Like they have 10 times more volume than they have right now than they will have in the next 2 to 3 months.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong at all. That's exactly what I've been thinking over the last few days. And you can see it even on your chart right there. You can see it in things like the MACD being flatlined, the RSI kind of like going sideways. And at the moment, this price we're at, just below 50K and not really at 40K, is no man's land. And they could dump it at a moment's notice. They could dump it next hour, next 50 minutes. Nobody knows. That's why you don't buy in at this price. You either wait for the breakout past 50K or you wait for the dump, right?
Yep.
So you don't buy in here because you're going to get screwed. You're going to get choppy. You're going to get chopped out. Unless you really know what you're doing and you're doing like Roman mentioned before, if you're doing day trading, then yeah, okay, sure, you can play the range. The range is between
Not doing that
what we
shit.
mentioned before, 46.6 and 50K. That's your range right there.
Yeah.
And you can buy in at 46.6, put in a stop loss around 46.5, 46.4, whatever, and then put in your take profits around the high 49Ks. And so what you were saying before is 100% correct. So they're holding the price here for a reason. They know that people are going to be emotional. They know people are going to be buying in and out.
Everyone's it's crazy how emotional people are. I got a tiny bit emotional today just because I
This
took
is
a
all. This is
loss.
all. If you think, just think about the psychological number, 48, 49K. Psychologically, you're already thinking we're past 50K. That's how this works. It's like a sales pitch. When someone pitches you a car, they'll sell it to you for 49,950 or something. You think, "Ooh, I'm getting a bargain. It's not 50K." That's only like you're only $200 away from whatever, you know what I mean? Sorry, $1,000 away from 50K, right? But you're thinking this is all a mind. These are all mind games being played right now. So what everyone needs to do, including myself, including you, we're all people, we're all humans, so we all get emotionally involved in these things. I think the best thing people could do right now is just to put in those, like I said before, those support and resistance levels, and just go outside, live your life. And if it goes above that, then look at it again, buying in at a premium, right?
Man,
If
look,
it goes below that, you're buying in at a bargain.
do you
So,
use
and that's it.
do you use Bollinger Bands at all?
No, not really. I
So
use
I have my basic Bollinger Band with the moving average in the middle. So when we dumped the first time, we lost the middle portion of it. We dropped, retested it, we dumped again, and now it kind of looks like we're moving sideways and maybe pop up a little bit and then go down. Or maybe we just continue like this catches up, and then we go down into early January. Would not surprise me
Yeah.
either way. But yeah, I have a couple people asking, like, when do you know when to enter and exit in this market? So real quick, I was just going to do something really simple, and then Eggers, you can kind of give your take on it.
Yeah,
so if you guys are new to this market, right, and you want to figure out when do I buy, or what does a breakout mean, or what does change of trend mean? Okay, so I'm going to draw a couple of very simple lines for you guys. And I'm going to try and keep it as simple as I can. When I have this chart up, it looks like a lot of shit's going on. For me, I've been looking at lines my whole life because my life is a line, and I can kind of see through all of the bullshit here. But just to, keep it as simple as I possibly can. Okay, so what you want to do when you're looking at any kind of asset is plot your macro lines. Usually I go from bottom to top and then top to bottom. So real quick, where are the big points where we have big bounces and price continues? So for me, we have this big bounce here at what is this, 20 or September 23rd, and then it's at like 40K. We went back up, and now we kind of lost it and retested it. So like, where are these big moves happening? Macro line. Now we're going to look at top to bottom. Where are we rejecting and continue lower? So I would start from the top wick, and I try to connect as many wicks as I can, or at least as many like key points as I can, where we say, okay, we dumped, we retested, we dumped, we retested, we dumped. So again, two very, very simple lines here. Where would we say a breakout would be? So a breakout, in my opinion, would be above this downtrending line. When you break, just like breaking below an uptrend, so when we even if this does break, let's just say this does eventually break. When we break down here, it usually changes trend. So we should see a downtrend. We should see a continuation of downtrend, realistically. But let's say this last, what is this, about 15 days or so of slight downtrend. Let's say we just pop up. Let's say we pop up and break this downtrend. For me, that is a sign that trend is going to most likely change. Now, a big takeaway here is, and you want to pay attention and leave these macro lines on your chart, what happens if we hit this area? What if, this downtrend line isn't to the level that it needs to be? Because over here, originally my uptrend line was like this. Because we had a breakdown and then a retest and then we went down. Well, for me, that was just far too much horizontal or vertical movement. So I was like, I don't know if it's quite like that. So I didn't give this a lot of weight, but this is nice and smooth. It's technically it's a very fair line to say we're going up. And here, I think this is much too vertical going down. I think this could very well be over here. And does that mean we're going to retest this area? No. We could continue lower and then hit like this and continue down. That's very likely. We could do, go down to 38K, come back to 49K and go down. But just very simple trading. If you're swing trading, you want to keep your macro lines. And, when you get into the 4 hour and the 1 hour and the 15 minute, try not to overcomplicate it. Always use your macro lines to determine the overall move. Because today on Twitter, I saw the most moon boyish people saying that we had changed because they were on a 1 hour chart And they were like, look at that volume, look at that double bottom, look at all this, look at all that. And, you know, that's great. That's awesome. But let's look at a daily. The daily is still making lower highs. Try not to overcomplicate it. Egris, do you have any feedback on that?
Yeah, I mean, that's 100% on the money, bro. That's exactly right. And if I was to pick, okay, so let's say you guys are new to this, right? New to TA and stuff like that. One thing I would add is like there's something really easy to add to your charts is the 200 EMA. So that number in particular, a lot of professional traders use intraday. They use it for swing trading, all sorts of things. So 200 EMA is kind of like the dividing line between a bull and a bear market. And right now, because you can see it, it's sitting right on top of it, right? So if you lose that, it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be a pretty drop. It lost it on every single time frame apart from the daily so far. So it lost it on the 12-hour, it lost it on the 4-hour. Every single time frame, it lost the 200 EMA. So that's another one to kind of see the overall trend and where we're going. That's a really good one to have.
Oh, I didn't even see that. Yeah, wow. We actually broke below the 200 EMA. We retested it. Now we're kind of retesting it again. Wow. I usually use the simple moving averages. I don't really look at EMAs that much. Just because that's, I don't know. Wow, I didn't even see that. That's kind of huge. I wonder what the 50...
It's a big deal, bro. And what the reason why I use it is because a lot of professional traders use it on stock market trading, on forex trading. So like Roman mentioned before, what constitutes a breakout? What constitutes someone like, let's say, the market makers? Everyone keeps saying market makers this, market makers that. These people have a lot of money. They have billions of dollars, and they look at the same charts that we do. So when they see something like the 200 EMA breaking down, they're going to put in shorts. When they see something like the 200 EMA breaking up, they're going to put in longs and stuff like that. So you want to kind of like you want to be looking at the same charts that the professionals are looking at, and that way you can try to figure out what they're going to do. And it's all like psychological games and all that. So 200 EMA is very good, like as a rule of thumb on the daily where the market is on the big picture. If we're below it, that constitutes a bear market. If we're above it, we're in a bull market, or at least, you know, in an uptrend, let's say, not necessarily a bull market, because that's a pretty strong term. So yeah, I mean, that's about it for me. I mean, there's plenty of other things I could add, but I don't want to like confuse everyone. So
this guy is saying, what about longer time frame? We're making higher highs and higher lows. So my counter to that is, although this is a higher low, I don't believe we're following trend. Like if you look at, so if you look at bottom to top, technically we're making higher highs and higher lows. If you look from bottom or top to bottom, we're making lower highs and lower lows. It depends how you look at it, but ultimately, you know, my macro trend line here, which has held and we saw a massive bounce off of, that is where I would determine trend changing if we lose it. So we lost it and now we're kind of consolidating.
Yeah.
Just to give you another example, I mean, looking at this, right? So we broke down. We have a higher low than over here, and now we have a lower high. But initially we had a higher highs and technically higher lows. But our trend changed, and look what happened. Yes, we made a nice little recovery, but then we dumped another. What is this? 60%, I believe. Yeah, we dumped 50%. From the all-time high, we dropped 60%. So, I mean, yeah, you can have this perception that we're making, technically making, you know, higher lows, higher highs. But even still, I don't necessarily think that this is bullish, especially when you lose structure. We can go back in the past and try and find more examples. But when you have such a severe red candle like this, and you don't really have, like, over here, again, this is a nice reversal pattern. This is not anything. This just looks like more consolidation. If you look at a 4-hour, it more or less looks like 3 descending peaks. I know there's a lot of volume here. It was more of a news event, but this guy keeps spamming LRC. I'm just gonna ban. Bye. Like, goodbye. But yeah, I don't. Yeah, I wouldn't consider that necessarily bullish. Even, and it's funny because you have a lot of the moon boys are like, oh no, this is so bullish. This is a bullish structure. I mean, I zoomed out and used a log chart and showed you how we've lost the trend that we've kept for a full year. I mean, if I put this
Yeah.
in log, I'm going to try and use a clean chart. If I put this in logarithmic form and I go from wicks, I like to use wicks, and I go from where we've wicked and where we've bounced the hardest, we are now below this trend. Let me put this in auto. It's a little smaller. Blow it up.
That's almost a 2-year trend.
Yeah.
Almost. March next year will be 2 years.
And let's say, you know, I want to use the opens, which I even still, we have lost. You know, from open over here, we have a nice bounce, continuation, a nice little bounce, continuation, a nice bounce. So this bottom line, which we are still far under, you know, I don't feel like I need to zoom in any further. We don't have a lot of grandma eyes here, do we? But, you know, for you guys, I'll do it. So if I go into auto, okay, that's a little better. You know, going from this open, and now we have this bounce. So we have 1 touch, 2 touch. No, I'm make it a little bit better. Really hate doing this, dude. They're so annoying. We have 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch, breakdown, and what looks like we have lost 100%. I mean, depending on how you guys want to look at this, this is losing macro trend. This trend line is 2 years old. You don't just lose trend and then continue upwards. That's just not how. That's not how like 90% of assets work. That's, I mean, go back in time. That's just not how that works.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think, yeah, it's exactly like you said. So market structure has been broken. Sure, you can make the argument that it's a higher low, I guess, but when are you going to cut your losses, right? So let's say majority of retail would have bought the top. I can guarantee you that. They would have bought above 60K back in May and back in more recent times, right? So what are you going to do? You're going to hold from 60K all the way down to 40K, to 30K? When are you going to cut your losses? To 20K? So according to that theory, you have to hold till at least 40K because that will be a higher low still. So as soon as it goes under 40K, you lose the higher low, and you pretty much lose. You're gonna lose your, you're gonna lose your coat. You're gonna lose everything. So sometimes you gotta like cut your losses as well. Unfortunately, this is how this game works. These are all you're looking at is psychological games. These guys are getting better and better at it every single cycle. This cycle has been the most manipulated cycle in Bitcoin's history.
By far. Look at the volume. I mean, when we went up and went parabolic, look at the volume compared to that to now. And you're expecting 100K? Like, I don't think so. You don't just pump with
it's not going to be like anywhere near 100K. There's going to be no all-time high this year. I can pretty much 100% guarantee you that.
Yeah.
But anyone that says otherwise, you should probably just unfollow them because you're wasting your time. Really, honestly, you should unfollow those kind of people, those kind of accounts that keep saying to 300K next year, this and that. You should unfollow those people because they don't know what they're talking about. They're trying to like sell you something. So
yeah, we have a guy that says it looks more like bearish accumulation similar to May August, thus extending cycles. So as much as we want to say there is an extension, there could be a possible cycle extension, I still don't believe in that. I don't think it's never happened in the past. Why would it happen now? I know people are like, oh, well, the last year's cycle or last bull cycle extended by 1 month. Like, okay, that's a month. That's not a year. That's not 6 months. It's not enough time. I'm pretty confident that this cycle or this current cycle in 2017 are pretty much running around this same time frame. I actually think this cycle has been shorter compared to 2017 in terms of parabolic price action.
I think, yeah, you're right. Like the cycle, I mean, it's easy to say, like I see a lot of YouTubers, other people online say, oh, it's just a lengthening cycle, and they just leave it at that. Okay, well, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
What does that even mean? So does it mean we have 100K next year? Does it mean we have 100K in 2 years? What does it even mean? It doesn't tell you anything, right?
Yeah, and all these...
There's just something, a theory to put out there, right? Because in reality, what they're actually saying is that, oh, we're just going to consolidate between 30 and 50K, and then we might go for 100K next year or the year after that, right? That's essentially what they're saying. Well, okay, show me the charts that tell me that. Show me the data. Show me something, And
Exactly.
okay, like you can do it on the day. Like another mistake. Okay, so we'll wind it back a bit. Another mistake that people are doing. So like I mentioned before, this cycle is totally different from any other cycle. The only thing I could compare this 2021 cycle to is 2019. And I believe in 2019 was a trial run of manipulation and mind games that they were going to play in 2021. So 2019, that's when the institutional money came in. That's when the hedge fund, what they call
Dude, I don't know
the
where to
hidden
find your
branches and the
wife.
hedge funds. That's when they came in, and they bought it up in 2020. They bought it up in COVID. They bought it up in that entire period between 2019 dump and the beginning of this year, right? So what I believe happened is this year has been the most manipulated market of all
Oh,
time in
by far.
Bitcoin by far.
At
Okay,
least, at
so
least
you can't
from
compare
January moving forward of like this
exactly.
entire year. Yeah, I mean we've seen a no volume pump from 40 to
Yeah,
69K with tether spoofing. Like by
you
far. I
can't
mean look at
compare
a damn weekly. Like the weekly has no volume and we're going up. Like that doesn't make any
exactly.
sense. It's never happened in the past. I mean
So
these big
you can't
parabolic
compare like
moves had volume.
a lot of analysts they make the mistake of comparing this cycle to 2014, right? Or even 2017. There's no comparison. Like this cycle is totally different. It's something we've never seen before. And so, yeah, sure, anything could happen in theory, but I'm telling you, these are essentially what we've been doing is we haven't hit, okay, 69K. We were 65K in what, in April? So we went up 4K in 8 months. Like, what is that even? If you think
Yeah,
about it, like, what is
yeah,
that even?
yeah. People are like, "Oh, well, you're an idiot because you didn't do this or that." I'm like, all
Yeah,
your Moon Boy friends. Okay, so those of you that don't know, all of your Moon Boy friends told you to hold here. They told you
yeah,
to hold here,
that's right.
and they told you to hold here. Okay, so you're telling me you held this 60% drop, and you went through all this pain and suffering just to hold here, and now we had another 40% drop. Like, you've got to be out of your damn mind to do that. Like, I'm
Yeah,
looking at
people do
that,
that,
and I'm just like, why on earth are people gloating about holding in this market? Okay, I sold somewhere around here. This is where I sold. I rebought a ton down here. I sold again over here. I did not. I actually did have a buy here, and I did not hold it because I was convinced we were going lower. We pumped again. I think completely off the market being spoofed, and I wish I had started shorting a couple weeks ago because I had the literally the fucking hour we topped. I had tweeted, there is a double top, it is going to crash. And look what happened. We crashed,
Yeah.
ultimately going down 40%. For right now, I don't see any reversal pattern. You know, if we come down
And
and come back up, for sure. But if you're holding in this market, you're playing this market wrong. This market is purely to make money from trading. There is no, as of right now, there's no real use of cryptocurrency other than making money off of it. So,
yeah, yeah, or like you said, like in day trading or swing trading, like I like to do it. But you got
exactly.
to know your ranges. You got to know potential when it could drop, potentially when it could bounce. This is not a market I'm holding anything. I'm not holding anything. And people are always like, "Oh, you sold the top. Oh, sorry, you sold the bottom." Or that you bought the top. You sold. No, I didn't. Like I didn't buy the top. I don't buy near the tops, you know. And like you were saying before, when you went back and you had the big picture between 69K and 65K, right? The double tops. So, and you know, in traditional TA, whenever you see a move like that past the all-time high, but you don't see
Yeah,
normally what
there's
should
no
happen,
follow up,
it
like
should be
nothing. Yeah, it
continuation.
should
Exactly,
be.
it should be
When
follow-up
we
continuation.
broke,
Volume
when we
should be
broke,
rising. Everything should be going up.
guys, look
It
at what
shouldn't
happened
just be
when we
stopping
broke
there.
20K. Like we moonshotted. When we broke all time here, we we lost our all time high close within four
Yeah.
weeks. That's not how a bull market works. And everyone's saying, "Oh, well, we need to accumulate longer." What are you talking about? We had over 2.5 years, almost 3 years of accumulation down here. We had more accumulation here. Again, no volume here at all. I don't know. You don't have to be an astrophysicist to see that. There's
Yeah.
no parabolic volume. I don't understand how I don't understand how we can say this is a bull market. A bull market does this, does that. It goes up in a straight line. Yes, there are pullbacks along the way, but it essentially keeps continuing and making all-time
Going up
highs.
and up and up.
This
Yeah.
market made an all-time high, came down slightly above, and then came back down. Sorry, let me redraw that. All-time high, came back down, slightly above, and now we're down. Could we be seeing maybe this as an extended form? Sure, but I'd beg to differ because this is a what is this, an 8-month period, 9-month period? And we made from all-time highs. We made a 6% gain. So you went through all this pain and suffering for 9 months to make 6%. You could have just bought stocks or put your money in BlockFi and made 8.7% without going through all of this pain and suffering. So congratulations. You made yourself look like a complete idiot, and I'm sure you went through more pain than you needed when this dropped, because I know a lot of people that did.
Well, of course, yeah, and that's why people are hurting right now. And when they see accounts like yours and mine, and we keep tweeting this bearish shit out there, it's not that we're perma bears. It's just that this is what we're seeing, and we're trying to save you people from like what I'm truly seeing, a sub 20K Bitcoin in the not too distant future. And when I say that, I mean it, because if you buy here, even at 50K, that's a huge drop to 20K from here. You know?
I literally just set up a bunch of my friends.
Save you for the future.
I just set up a bunch of my friends in their DCA account so that they can start buying during the heat of the bear market. I still think we're going to drop more. I don't think 49K is the bottom at all. And if it is, then we're going to consolidate here for the next 3 years. Could you imagine consolidating between 50 and 40K?
Well, I've seen some. So I watch all kinds of shit, right? And you know, I know you don't like Elliott wave counts, but I watch certain people that do Elliott wave counts, and I saw some pretty convincing counts where they're basically saying that we go down to 30K and we bounce between 30 to 50K in kind of what they call a rectangular, whatever they call it, rectangular formation. Yeah, and just keep doing that for maybe a year, and then we go, right? So, but that's why like you were saying before, the support and resistance levels are so critical. Like, you need to know these things, because when do you buy? Otherwise you see a green candle and you buy on emotion. Well, that's not going to end well for you, right? You need to know the support and resistance levels. You buy at support and you sell at resistance. Okay, not the other way around. A lot of people, they get it all twisted. They sell at support, right, and they buy at resistance, and that's how you get wrecked in this game. So you gotta know these levels, and that's how you can make some money out of this, right? I mean, you're not gonna. And the other thing is, like, when you're in a bear market, in which we are in a bear market. When you're in a bear market, you need to rein in your expectations, right? So if you're making a bit of money, that's great. A lot of people are losing everything, you know. So yeah,
pretty much.
That's it. I think that's it for me. I gotta shoot off.
Yeah, dude, I'm gonna end it here too. Thanks so much for
no worries.
Sending me a message. If you want to come on again, I'm sure everyone would love to have you. But thanks a lot,
no problem,
man.
Bro. Not a problem. All good.
I would say have a nice night, but it's like morning for you, so have a nice.
Yeah, it's like 11:30.
Jeez, have a nice lunch, I guess. Yeah, I'm gonna be eating dinner here soon. But all right, man, take it easy. Thanks so much for coming out again. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, bro. Have a good one. See ya.
Take it easy, man. So, guys, really liked having Agris out. That was awesome. Nice little random message of him to hit me up and say, hey, do you mind coming on? So, from what I understand, he wants to start a YouTube channel, and that'd be great. When he does, I'll definitely give you guys a link. Definitely have to go check him out. He's a very smart guy, and he's very realistic. You know, a lot of us get called permabears and stuff. Well, I made my money in the bull market. I made my money DCAing. I made my money playing the long game. You know, as much as swing trading makes good money, the real percentage gains comes from DCAing in the bear market. And, you know, I'm pretty convinced we're in the bear market. There's a couple other indicators we need to really be under to be absolute, but I'm prepared for any situation at the moment. But, yeah, guys, thanks again for coming out. I really appreciate it. If you liked what we talked about today and would like to continue watching, please make sure you like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Like I always say, I put a lot of time and effort into these streams, and I'd appreciate any kind of support you guys can show. And as always, Discord, it is free. I went on my Discord teaching lesson, showed you guys what it is and how it works. Please join. Link is below. We'd love to have you. You can ping me or the other trading mentors if you have any questions or just want to share an opinion. It's always open. But as always, guys, be patient. Use risk management.